Welcome to another explainer, everyone. Okay, let's dive into this. Every January, millions of us set these massive goals, right? We're gonna lose weight, make more money, start that business, or finally learn a brand new skill. You've probably been there yourself. I know I have. But by the end of the year, almost everyone has completely given up. Today, we're breaking down exactly why that happens, and we're looking at what actually sets the real winners apart from the rest of the pack. Studies consistently show that a staggering 95% of people never reach their biggest goals. They just quit. That leaves only this tiny, seemingly impossible 5%, representing the really small fraction of people who actually cross the finish line and succeed. Which brings up a pretty fascinating question. Do the 5% know something we don't? Are these highly successful people just, smarter than the rest of us? Are they naturally more talented? Or is there a specific, repeatable framework they're using that the rest of the world is just totally ignoring? Well, here is our roadmap for today. We're going to break down the exact mindset of the 5%, step by step. The motivation myth, goals versus systems, the comfort zone, invisible progress, and finally, the 1% rule. Let's start right off with section 1, the motivation myth, why inspiration fails. Most people incorrectly believe that success starts with motivation. They wait around until they feel inspired or excited or quote-unquote ready to change their lives. But here's the trap. Motivation is completely unreliable. It's really just a feeling, and feelings change constantly. Sure, some days you'll wake up feeling totally unstoppable, but other days, you're going to feel tired, stressed out, and completely discouraged. If you only put in the work when you are motivated, you are literally guaranteeing that you'll never be consistent. So the crucial point is this. Successful people do not rely on motivation. They rely on habits. A habit is that reliable daily process that just runs on autopilot, whether you feel like doing it or not. The 5% have intentionally built their lives around these automatic behaviors, rather than chasing after fleeting emotional highs. Moving to section 2, goals versus systems. The paradigm shift. There is a massive contrast between having a goal and actually building a system. You see, a goal is incredibly easy to set. It's really just a destination. But a system, that is the actual hard process of getting there. For example, a goal is saying, I'm going to lose 20 kilograms. Anyone can write that down. But the system is the grind of exercising every single day and eating healthy meals. The problem is that 95% of people focus solely on the goal, and they completely ignore the daily actions required. And I'm here to tell you, without a system, your goals are really just wishes. Let's slow down for a second and just ground this with a reality check. Everyone wants the desired result, but almost no one wants to pay the required sacrifice. People want the fit body, sure, but they don't want the early morning workouts. They want the financial freedom, but they strongly resist years of disciplined saving and investing. They want the top grades, but they absolutely hate the long hours of studying. Success always demands something in return, and the harsh reality is that most people quit the very moment they discover the actual cost. Let's look at section 3, surviving the comfort zone and overcoming that fear of failure. The human brain is naturally hardwired to love comfort. It absolutely craves safety, predictability, and routine. And because of that, fear stops way more dreams than actual failure ever could. Think about how relatable this is. We avoid starting a business because of the fear of losing money. We avoid applying for that dream job out of a fear of rejection. We avoid chasing our biggest ambitions simply because we are terrified of looking foolish in front of others. Growth only happens outside of that comfort zone, but most people choose to stay right where it's safe, and then years later, they wonder why nothing in their life ever changed. The 5% share a major core mindset shift, and it's this. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. And this brilliantly illustrates that every single successful person you look up to has failed, often many, many times. The only real difference between them and the 95% is that they simply kept going after they failed. Which brings us to section 4, the invisible progress phase, or the valley. This explains exactly why people quit their goals way too early. For the first few weeks, you put in the hard work. Then, for a couple of months, there are zero visible results. Literally nothing changes. This is the valley of disappointment, where most people just throw in the towel. But month 3, that is the breakthrough. It is exactly like a seed growing underground. For a long time, all the growth is happening beneath the surface, where you can't even see it. The winners keep watering that invisible seed, trusting the process. The quitters stop, and they never get to see it break through the surface. And staying consistent during that invisible phase is honestly harder than ever today because of modern distractions. Think about it. Social media, streaming platforms, video games, endless notifications just constantly pinging on our phones. We are rapidly losing hours every single day to this digital noise. In fact, a lot of people spend far more time watching other people succeed on their screens than they do actually working on their own goals. Because of this highly distracted environment, focus has literally become a superpower. If you can just master your attention and put your head down to work while the rest of the world is scrolling, you are giving yourself a massive, completely unfair advantage. This is exactly what the 5% do to pull ahead. Finally, Section 5, the 1% rule and the power of small improvements. Ultimately, it all comes down to just 1%. Most people vastly overestimate what they can accomplish in a single week, right? And they completely underestimate what they can achieve in a year. Imagine improving by just 1% every single day. That just means reading a few pages of a book, practicing a small skill for 10 minutes, saving just a tiny bit of money, or exercising for a quick 20 minutes. Day by day, these tiny actions seem completely insignificant, but compounded over time, they create extraordinary, life-altering results. The 5% know that success is rarely one big cinematic moment. It's really the culmination of thousands of small choices made consistently over time. They show up when they don't feel like it, they endure the discomfort, and they trust that invisible progress when the results just aren't there yet. So we've broken down the exact playbook of high achievers. Remember, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. I want to leave you with this final provocative question. Will you be part of the 95% who quit or the 5% who keep going? The choice is entirely up to you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this framework helps you tackle your next big goal. Drop a comment below and let me know what topic you think we should explain next.